This is Brian's judgment on whether a movie is a stalker film or not. One, we've already talked about. No fucking masks. No masks, okay? 2, can't be random. Okay, when I mean random, I mean like, Annie Wilkes decides I'm going to randomly find a person and stalk them. So there has to be some connection to him, some way. 3, obsession. There has to be an obsession there. Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
I always feel like somebody's watching me. Sorry, I couldn't finish it legally.
I thought you were going to do Private Eyes are watching me. Clap, clap. Yes. This episode is great to be back. We're recording this from the Erie Horror Fest down in Erie, Pennsylvania, the Warner Theater. And this episode, we are going to be diving into some, some people might find this episode to be kind of triggering just because of the subject matter.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Trigger warning.
Yeah. We are going to be talking about stalker movies. I thought about that just now. I'm just like, there's a lot of art blending in with reality with this particular subject matter that people might be like, no, I don't want that.
Well, we kind of hit on like all the abstract ones, like haunted houses, dolls. It's like now we're getting a little close to reality here. And I think that's what makes these films actually quite scary.
Is how we as people can relate way more to like these sort of real monsters, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
just to kind of, before we'll eventually get to our top 5, or in my case, top 6.
I got top 3.
Of our favorite films. Let's go over kind of the history of these films that we have here. And really, there were some in the early days, but if you go back to 1960, we really have 2 films that came out the same year. It's funny when that happens.
Yep.
That kind of set the bar for soccer films, and that's Psycho and Peeping Tom.
You consider Psycho a stalker film?
It's on the
list.
It's on the cusp.
Is it on like the listicles?
But it's one of those. The 1960s, like this is where we kind of stop, having ancient castles and faraway lands and long ago, and now we're kind of hitting home. Like people don't realize the controversy that Psycho had when it came out because this is a real person in a real town, killing a woman. Like, this isn't, monsters. There's no Wolfman here. So that kind of brought forth, a new outlook on things. And don't sleep on Peeping Tom. I know a lot of people don't look at it because it's, not American. But it's.
I was going to say I've never seen Peeping Tom.
Yeah, check it out.
I got to check it out.
Yeah, and then there's the original Cape Fear in '62.
Oh, such a good film.
Yeah, kind of started to set the bar. And you have Clute, which won Jane Fonda an Oscar. Duel, which I know is made for TV movie. I'm starting to get like.
That's okay. I think made for TV movies are valid.
Yeah, they're still movies
because they're still movies, right?
I mean, don't tell the director of that movie that they're movies, because Steven Spielberg would. He doesn't even count that as his first film because it.
Really?
Because it played on TV.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Sugarland Express is his first film, if you ask him.
Oh well, tough shit.
Yeah. And this one, and then we had just a year later, kind of what set the bar, in my opinion, for the Stalker films was Play Misty for me.
Which, okay.
For our Cable Guy fans out there, because everybody would say, Cable Guy's kind of a male version of Play Misty for me. There's a point where they're watching TV in that movie, and Play Misty for me is on the TV. So they kind of acknowledge that.
I've never seen Play Misty for me.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood is being stalked. It's kind of what's the movie with Michael Douglas?
The Game?
I can look at my list here. Fatal Attraction.
Oh,
it's Fatal Attraction before Fatal Attraction. And then you have Black Christmas and Halloween, which kind of are more of like, the slasher genre can be kind of interesting.
They can be. Yeah. I don't know. I don't view Halloween or honestly really any sort of movie that has a masked monster as a Stalker movie. And I think it's because like the minute that the person puts on a mask or whatever, they're dehumanized. And I think the allure of the Stalker movie, to me, at least what always seems to like bring me to them, is that they're people, right?
Yeah.
They're just broken people. Okay, they don't have to wear a fucking mask. They're just people themselves who, for whatever means, they're broken their psyche, they've broken their moral code, they're broken all of those scruples, and for whatever reason, they've latched on to someone else.
Yeah.
To fulfill whatever that need is. And I just, Michael Myers, I don't put him in the same realm. And yeah, you could say like, well, Brian, sometimes when they take the mask off, they're that broken person. It's like, yeah, I get that, but they had to like adopt this other persona that's larger than life, and they've transcended being human at that point.
Yeah.
They become just a normal monster.
That's more than fair. We kind of jumping ahead to the second part of this. No, you're good. But that kind of covers when a stranger calls prom night Friday the 13th. Would you also consider Prowler to be more of a slasher than a...
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just anyone that like was marketed as a slasher and lacks that human like side to it, I totally don't. I don't consider them a quote unquote stalker first movie.
Yeah. Okay. One of my all time favorites, The King of Comedy.
Oh yeah,
Martin
that's
Scorsese.
a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one. You know what the thing too is like a good stalker movie has a healthy dose of obsession in there.
Yeah,
like an unhealthy dose of obsession. Like they have to have that, and like Halloween and these other ones really don't have that obsession, more or less.
No, they're just killers.
They're just killers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I do think it's interesting because there's two kinds, in my opinion, that are successful. It's the one where the person doesn't realize they're a stalker, and the one where they absolutely realize exactly what they're doing. And in King of Comedy, like, I don't think De Niro realizes just what a pain in the ass he is.
No, he doesn't. And I mean, of course, De Niro he's got kind of a twofer because in the 90s he did The Fan.
Yeah.
Which, again, very unhealthy obsession.
Oh, I'll get there.
I know you'll get there. I know you will people will get there.
And then this one's kind of an interesting take because it's not a human being, but Terminator. The Terminator is stalking Sarah Connor. It's its job.
You're right. I don't. He's a monster.
Yeah.
Like he
has no free will.
He has no free will.
Programmed.
He's programmed.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you can make the argument the psychologist could come in and say, well, like, isn't a stalker programmed by their life experiences? Whoa.
Yeah.
Like, aren't their actions and how they react to stimuli programmed by trauma and things that happen in their lives? Like, I guess you could make that argument, Mr. Psychiatrist.
Doctor Psychologist. Well, here's one that I don't think anybody could argue with. In '87 we have Fatal Attraction.
Oh, so fucking good.
As I mentioned earlier.
That's so good. Yeah. And you know what I love about Fatal Attraction? So usually, and like you see this a lot in the '90s, but the stalker always is a male stalking a female.
Quite often, yeah.
Quite often that is it.
Yeah.
And in Fatal Attraction, you have a very successful woman who's successful in her work life and her career, right? And she latches on to Michael Douglas in an unhealthy way. And she is the stalker. She is the pursuer.
He must have the biggest dick.
I mean, this is 1980s Michael Douglas. Yeah. I mean, come on.
For all of our audio listeners, you're going to miss out here. I'm going to look right in the camera.
You got to describe
everybody.
What you're doing.
Guys, this is your Uncle John talking. Don't stick your dick in crazy. That is rule number one. No matter how hot, no matter what the situation, you don't stick your dick in crazy.
No.
This has been my TED Talk. Thank you.
This has been his TED Talk. But I know that is what's refreshing about Fatal Attraction to me is just that it's a woman who is in that position when traditionally stalker films have always made the woman in these dynamics very weak when Alex is not that at all.
Right. Yeah. And then we have our remake of Cape Fear, so we're coming full circle.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to ask you this, Code. Do you like the remake of Cape Fear better than the original?
I do, but I don't think it's a better film.
I love the remake.
Yeah.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, Robert Mitchum's great in the original, but like, there's something about De Niro. There's something about Scorsese did that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the actual composition of that film. One from a cinematography standpoint, but also just from a storytelling standpoint. I love that one better.
I may have my history wrong on this one, but I believe Spielberg was originally signed up to direct Cape Fear, and Scorsese was going to direct Hook. And they I think they called each other up and went, I don't think this is right. I think we both got the wrong goddamn movie.
Yeah, he's like, I don't think I should do Hook, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I should do Cape Fear.
So they made the right choice and swapped movies.
Yes, they made the right choice.
Yeah. And in the 90s, we're just like, I don't know if it's because we were
Fucking
financially well off under Clinton or what it was, but like we had, I think, other things to worry about than like war and genocide.
There was still all that shit there.
But like, we have 92, we have Single White Female.
So good.
The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
So good.
Bodyguard, all in the same year. The Crush with Alicia Silverstone.
Oh my
Forgotten
God.
Gem.
The fucking Crush, man.
Eye for an Eye. Brian, would you consider Scream because they are stalking Sydney, but again, is it because it's a slasher?
No, I draw the line at you're wearing a mask.
Yeah. But 96 was the year of stalkers. Like, if you include Scream, we got Eye for an Eye, Scream, Fear, Cable Guy, and The Fan, all in the same year.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was a thing where it's like, the 80s, you had a lot of slashers. Scream obviously revived the slasher, but I really think like the whole idea of the monster being your next door neighbor, or the monster being that bad date, or the monster being someone who you inadvertently wronged.
Yeah.
That you inadvertently, like, you didn't do anything, you did the right thing, but your action inadvertently hurt someone else's life.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a matter of what if that person was unhealthy in the head. So I think making the terror like homegrown and based down the street from you was a big trend in the 90s.
As we enter the early 2000s, I call this the Robinsons of like, I might be the genie, Mrs. Doubtfire, but I can be creepy as fuck too. 1 Hour Photo.
Okay.
Yeah.
1 Hour Photo. I believe this. I think it might be Robin Williams' best role.
It's got to be in the consideration.
And here's the reason why. Okay, I'm going to tell you the reason why. Robin Williams was a brilliant comedian. Brilliant. Okay? He brought heart to just about every role. But you want to know whether or not a performer can really cut loose and really show their strength is you put them in something they're unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
And like that film, as well as Insomnia, which I roughly came out around the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. So like those are so against type for Robin Williams. Okay. You're like, oh yeah, Peter Pan from Hook. Yeah, we're gonna make him, a creepy guy who's obsessed with a family because he has no family, and then you find out the dark things that happened to him of what brought that obsession, and it's truly chilling. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, this is a chilling portrayal, and I can't imagine any other person doing it other than Robin Williams. And I think because we all know him as like the genie from Aladdin, like seeing him like that is kind of shell-shocking.
All comedy has an underlying darkness, so I think that bringing a comedian to that role is actually a brilliant thing. And if you go, what is that movie? I don't blame you. Swim Fan.
Swim Fan.
Talk about just teenage
forgettable
forgettable
trailer that you might have seen during one other film that you were seeing. Yes, because that's the only reason I know Swim Fan. I'm like, oh yeah, that trailer I saw that one time.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, I mean, I don't bang her I don't blame her for wanting to bang her in the pool, but again, you don't stick your dick in crazy.
This has been a message from your Uncle John.
No Country for Old Men. If you think,
yeah, I guess so. I guess you go. But like, he's not really. Is he stalking them? It's been a while since
he's been hired to do so.
Okay, so he's an assassin.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't count that then.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't count that.
We'll get to like, does it count or not?
Okay.
The Strangers and It Follows. Do you consider those?
The Strangers. They're all wearing fucking masks in that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That
and they
count.
picked the family at random.
That doesn't count.
Yeah. What about It Follows?
No.
Because it's supernatural?
It's supernatural. And I don't know. I just believe that a stalker film has to be based in reality. Mm-hmm. And you know what the thing, too, is like, when it's based in reality, you yourself are thinking of your own interactions with people. Mm-hmm. And it's always clicking back to, like, could this person be my stalker?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. And I think when you don't have that, when it's hidden behind either, like, you know, supernatural means or it's hidden behind a mask, it just dehumanizes that thing. And I think there needs to be that sort of human connection where it's like your interactions with people, you know, you don't know what the hell that person's gone through. You don't know if they're broken or not, or if they are quick to obsession, and if your interaction with them can cause that. I think that's the key to a good stalker film.
Fair enough. And now one of the greatest films ever made, Boy Next Door, with Jennifer Lopez.
I never saw that one. That's the one I never saw. It's always been one that I'm just like, that's the one where J-Lo sleeps with the boy next door, right? It's like, oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, and it's like...
so it's like a Lifetime, a Hallmark, not like Hallmark, but like a Lifetime movie.
With a budget.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, with the movie, just kind of sidebar here, like, he's a high school student who's been held back twice. So, like, he's
an adult.
He's like 19 or 20. But why not just make her a college professor?
Because that makes it less creepy.
It makes it less exciting.
Yes, it makes it less
for the Stephanie Meyer readers out there. Yeah. And then also one of the greatest films of all time, The Fanatic, with John Travolta.
Oh my god. Oh my god, The fucking Fanatic. I don't think we ever did we give that one a full review?
No, not.
I think we talked about it.
We talked about it. Because how could you not?
But man, Moose.
Moose is in the house.
Moose is in the house. You ever listen to some of that biscuit?
Shameless.
It's like, yes, Fred, we know. Wink, wink. We're looking at you at the camera.
Didn't even try to hide it with maybe one of his side bands.
No.
Just limp biscuit.
You gotta listen to that biscuit. No one said that, by the way.
And meanwhile, like his 12-year-old's like, kids listen to Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit's great.
They're the coolest on the playground.
They're the most awesome band ever. Right? Did I say that right, Fred?
Stop looking in the camera.
Stop looking at the camera.
Invisible Man from.
It's got elements. Yeah. I don't know. The minute you give me that's not even supernatural. It's science fiction.
Yeah.
But I mean, definitely, I think the fact that it's a former that's her ex, right?
Yeah.
And he just happens to be a crazy scientist who invents a visible man suit.
Checks out.
Checks out. Yeah, of course. But I mean, I think the core of that one definitely is a stalker film, but it does have that added thing of the whole supernatural element or science fiction element with the invisible man suit. So yeah, I'll give it it.
Yeah. And then Borderline, which was came out this year. It had Jack Nicholson's son in it. Which
okay.
He's obsessed
I
with
haven't
a
seen
famous
that
movie
one.
star. And,
okay. I gotta check that one out.
So a premise we've seen a bunch of times, but it's like these movies stand the test of time, and it's, you can say, okay, well, this is why these movies were coming out at certain times, but also some of them just came out because this is just something we all experience. It didn't have to be laced to history. It's just, how many times have you heard something, oh my God, that's totally stalking me, and sometimes it's very, very, very much true. But yeah, there are ones I want to know if you think that they count.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
So these are ones that Brian either gives the yay or nay to.
And we've already done a lot of the ones with like the slasher movies or if they're wearing masks, but
they don't count.
What about, okay, this one could be kind of abstract. I want to know, Night of the Living Dead.
Nope.
No, because the zombies
they're dead.
Don't have any. Yeah,
they're dead.
Saying what they're doing.
They're dead. They're all fucked up.
Yeah, they're all messed up.
They're all messed up.
All right, we discussed Black Christmas, Halloween, all these slasher movies. Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh man, I haven't seen Slumber Party Massacre in a long time. Who's stalking that one?
I mean, it's a bunch of like babysitters and people, women having a get together and the guy is stalking them. But it's another slasher,
Yeah, then no.
Yeah. See, this one was on every list that I came across, but I don't agree with it. Misery.
Misery. Yeah. No, I think that's a stalker one.
Well, here's my problem. Like, he crashed like next to her house. She didn't seek him out.
Correct.
Yeah.
But here's where I would go back to it. If and this is Brian's judgment on whether or not a movie is a stalker film or not.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a couple criteria. One, we've already talked about. No fucking masks. Mm-hmm. No masks. Okay.
Yeah.
2, can't be random. Okay. When I mean random, I mean like, Annie Wilkes decides I'm going to randomly find a person and stalk them. No. There has to be some.
This is her hero.
This has some connection. So there has to be some connection to him some way.
Yeah.
3, obsession. There has to be an obsession there.
Yeah.
Now, nowhere in there is geographical direction. So what I mean by that is like, yes, she was clearly obsessed with Paul Sheldon beforehand. But you're going to tell me that Annie Wilkes didn't know that Paul Sheldon vacations up in the cabin?
Which she does. Yeah.
Which she does. Yeah. So, like, by that logic, who's to say that Annie Wilkes doesn't move to that area because her hero, Paul Sheldon, happens to go there? Who's
Fair
to
enough.
say that? We don't know. The movie doesn't tell us that. But, I mean, think of it this way. Like, who's your absolute idol, John?
Was George Carlin.
Okay.
If we're pretending he's still alive.
So let's pretend that George Carlin is alive.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not going to call you a stalker. But let's just say, George Carlin's alive and, his car breaks down in front of your house.
Yeah.
And he comes out asking for help. Isn't your mind going to be raced like, oh my God, it's George fucking Carlin?
Yeah.
But to George Carlin, you might be like, this guy's obsessed with me. Okay?
Yeah.
So I look at it from the standpoint of like, Annie Wilkes is clearly in a stalkery type relationship with Paul Sheldon because of happenstance.
Yeah.
Because she very easily could have been like, I'm going to get help for, someone that I'm a fan of because I care. But she lacks that ability because it's obsession that is driving everything. George Carlin comes to your house, you're not going to, lock him in your house and be like, please just go through all of your, can you just replay, all of your comedy specials for me, like starting back from like the 50s all the way till now.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that because you're not a stalker. You're someone who's going to be like, yes, I'm a fan of this person, but my obsession with them is not going to drive it because, one, you clearly are obsessed with George Carlin, right? But you're going to help them because you're a human being. Annie Wilkes doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So I argue it is a stalker movie.
Okay. The Net.
I'm curious. Why do you not think it is?
Because again, it's, and you kind of convinced me, but it's happenstance that he crashes at her place. Because she didn't seek him out, and he technically at first needs her to take care of. And I mean, once the roads clear up, she could have taken him to a medical facility.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but like because she didn't stalk him, it's kind of like in Robin Hood Men in Tights when the sheriff crashes through the hag's roof.
Yes.
Like she didn't stalk him; he crashed through the roof.
Well, she was praying.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
But and again, these are just Brian and John's opinions, and the reason I mention that is this is actually a call to action. If you don't agree with us, hit us up in the comments, YouTube comments. Hit us up on social media, Discord. Let us know. And don't sleep on it. Come on, people.
Do it right now.
Come on,
do it
while you're listening. Do it. Come on. Let's see.
All right, what else you got next?
I know what you're going to say. I know what you did last summer.
Nope.
Valentine and Joyride.
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Although Valentine's a weird one.
Yeah.
It's a weird one because clearly there is an obsession there starting from high school. Obsession. But yeah, I'd say that's more revenge and the fact he wears a fucking mask already makes it like it's not going to work.
And he has nosebleeds.
He has
just automatically disqualified. I don't know why, but just has.
I don't know why.
Yeah. What about Phone Booth with Colin Farrell? He's in that situation because somebody is.
Yeah, but we never really know what Kiefer Sutherland's like obsession, like where that obsession's rooted from.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of random.
Yeah.
Right. Like clearly this man has his issues. He's targeted, Colin Farrell, and he absolutely like knows everything about him. But you also get the vibe that Kiefer Sutherland does this to more than one person.
Yeah,
because I think in that film, if I remember correctly, it is mentioned that like this happened to another person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that leads me to thinking that it's somewhat random rather than having a personal connection with the stalkee.
Yeah. Well, on that note, then, on the same kind of context, what about Red Eye?
Red Eye,
one of Wes Craven's final films.
Yeah. I haven't seen Red Eye in a long time. Now, remind me, is Cillian Murphy is he personally tied?
So he is. I think it falls under the same No Country for Old Men. Like he's kind of like hired.
Yep.
So
no.
Doesn't.
If someone is paying you to stalk a person, you're not actually a stalker.
Okay. Yeah. So those are the ones that are kind of the outliers there. I think we had like one yes and the rest were no's.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
but the type of stalker films we have is typically male on female.
Yes.
You can imagine that.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Smash that patriarchy. I also have in parentheses here hetero. Because point that out.
Yeah.
And occasionally the flip of that is female on male for Fatal Attraction, a few other examples in here. There's guy on guy. Again, hetero, thankfully, because those movies would have been homophobic if it was a gay guy stalking a
like
straight guy.
The Fan.
Yeah, The Fan, Cable Guy, what have you. Guy on guy, huge fans. That's the thing too. It's like, I'm your biggest fan. Well, girl and guy, too, I guess if we're including Misery. Hired gun on a mission, as Brian said, doesn't count.
Do you think it counts?
Yeah, but, they are stalking. I do see what you're saying. Like, it is better, in my opinion. It does not require, but it's better if it's coming from some level of psychological, like, misfire.
I think if you're going down the stalking route, there's more than just a misfire.
Yeah,
it's blown gasket.
Yeah. Plain revenge. And
yeah.
And then Supernatural.
You think Supernatural is a good one?
Yeah. Like It Follows and Terminator to me are complete stalker movies. Yeah. Again, there's not the human element there.
I don't.
But yeah.
I don't.
Well, what about if it's from the quote unquote good guys? Like, would you consider The Fugitive to be a stalker movie because the police are hunting Harrison Ford?
No, I don't. I think for me, I have a very narrow spectrum of what I consider a stalker movie. Is that it has to have some level of psychological break in the person who is stalking for it to be relatable to as the audience member watching it, to have that emotional response to it, I think it has to have that core element. The person stalking has to be psychologically broken in some way, and find that void that is left in their psyche is filled by the person they're stalking.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
All
right. Well, that kind of breaks down a little bit of history and the rules that we're setting here. Brian, shall we do our best ofs?
Yeah, I mean, I got 3.
I have 6.
You have 6, of course. John has to always outdo me on these things. He always just I brought 5. Well, fine, I brought 6. Or I brought 10. Fine, I brought 11.
It's not to outdo you. I just don't have any self-control.
I know. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead. You start with your 6.
All right. So I guess 6 would be kind of maybe, we'll call it my honorary pick.
Your honorary
because I couldn't not include it. Cable Guy.
Cable Gula.
And I don't know if it's because I grew up obsessed with Jim Carrey that I hold this movie so close to my heart. But for those who know our archive, it was our first Really That Awful, where we decided, no, it's not awful at all.
It's not.
Shame
on
all of you. I'm sorry Jim Carrey was dark and didn't talk out of his butt, but get over it. But yeah, no, it's really is the play Misty for me, but guy on guy.
It's such a good movie too. It does this thing where it makes the stalking funny.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's different than any other stalker movie, is that, you're not supposed to really find any of this stuff funny. I mean, geez, we were on the ride up here, we were quoting the porno password scene.
Yeah.
And it's yes, taken out of context, yes, it's funny. But then you have to realize, this guy is injecting himself into Matthew Broderick's life,
and is a master manipulator,
and is manipulating every person around him. And that scene, to me, what's terrifying about it, if you really think about it, is yes, that everyone thinks that Steven is overreacting.
Yeah.
That Steven is he's an asshole. He's always been an asshole this way. He's overreacting to Chip, who's going in and basically co-opting his parents and co-opting his siblings and all this stuff, and basically being the quintessential best son that isn't part of this family, but he's better than them. Yeah. And he's doing it in a way that no one else sees it other than Steven. Steven kind of is he's being gaslit the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
So that's terrifying, but it's a fucking hilarious scene.
Yeah, and I think really where we get the big twist in the movie is when we see the spider go over Jim Carrey's face. And
oh, my God.
Oh, wow, this movie got really creepy really quickly.
I am so tired. So very tired.
And then that sound effect that you hear in those.
Well, first time I saw that, I thought there was a spider on the TV. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it on TV. So, first time I saw it, I'm was there a fucking... Daddy Longleg on the TV? It's no, that's the movie. I'm so it was on its face?
Yeah, he's lying on some cellar floor or something.
Yeah.
But wait, when you say Chip Douglas, don't you mean Larry Tate?
Ah.
Or Ricky Ricardo. All right, so number 5, you've disqualified this one in your list, but I think it's the one of the penultimate stalker films is Terminator.
Yeah. I don't think it is. It's fucking robot, man.
It's a cyborg.
I don't know. It's not a. No, it's not a cyborg. I'm sorry. It is not a cyborg. It is a fucking robot covered in skin.
Cybernetic organism model 101.
Cybernetic organism model 101.
But number 4, I have Duel.
I've never seen Duel.
So yeah, it's such a simple premise. Is the guy who our hero cuts off an 18-wheeler kind of incidentally, not in a dangerous way, and the 18-wheeler honks at him and he's yeah, whatever, buddy, and he drives on and realizes that the 18-wheeler is following him
and
shit, trying to make him crash. And there's one scene in the movie that I hate because and I know you gotta stop the driving scene for a minute, is he goes into and mind you, audience, this is 71, so there's no cell phones.
Yeah.
Is he stops at a diner to get off the road and maybe seek help, see if he can get a phone, call the police. And you see him look down because the 18-wheeler stops there too, and you see 2 feet get out of the 18-wheeler, and I'm like, yeah, obviously I know it's being driven by somebody, but I want to see the Stalker as just the 18-wheeler. I don't want, to know that somebody's, because the whole next scene is him in the diner trying to figure out which person in here is the guy who's doing this to me. But yeah, it's you can tell that Spielberg kid was going places with this one.
I can see where that one can definitely be a Stalker movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make the argument like, oh well, the 18-wheeler is the mask.
Yeah.
More or less, like, right? Because it's
yeah.
And like as you say, like the minute he steps out, it's like, well, now we've humanized him.
Yeah.
Now we know he's not just a monster, know. And so I can see that, but I think the fact that he does get out of the 18-wheeler, it does humanize him, and it does make it more of a Stalker film than it does, say, a slasher or anything like that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because like at that point, the 18-wheeler is a monster.
Yeah,
it's not like yeah.
Number
3 here, I kind of alluded to this earlier when I said one of my favorite, King of Comedy.
Yeah,
I mean, just great stuff. I remember when my dad told me too. It was like Jerry Lewis is the straight man and De Niro's the comic or relief, and I'm like, wait, what? That seems backwards, doesn't it? That doesn't sound right, but it works. It absolutely works.
No, you're right. I agree that one. Yeah. That one especially is really solid.
And number 2, you asked me which one is better, which one do you prefer more? I have Cape Fear, but I have the De Niro one because even
I like the De Niro one.
Yeah, I prefer it. Again, I don't think it's better than the original, but I prefer it.
Yeah, I absolutely.
Scorsese goes balls to the wall with this one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also a thing like, I mean, again, I have not seen the original Cape Fear in a bit. Yeah. But like in the I think that one came out what 90 or 91?
91, yeah.
Yeah. So like in that one, you could get a bit more graphic.
Yeah.
Than you would have done in the 60s.
It's the light you don't turn on, Brian.
Yeah, well, fine, fuck that. I don't care. I mean, like Max Cady's whole seduction of Juliette Lewis is kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
Like really disturbing. And I don't think you could do that in the 60s.
Oh, God, no.
No.
And here's a fun fact for your audience. De Niro improv putting his dirty fingers in her mouth, and Juliette Lewis, to her credit, just went with it as a scene partner.
Gross.
And I mean, I'm not saying De Niro's a dirty guy, but I mean, he probably hadn't washed his hands in a couple hours, so
gross.
Yeah. Like, it tastes like dirt and pennies. Yay.
Dirt and pennies.
And number 1, call me a basic bitch, audience, if you want, but Fatal Attraction.
I mean, I wouldn't call you a basic bitch.
Yeah.
I would say that is pretty much the if I had to say, okay, what do you envision as a Stalker film that's modern? I would pick that one.
Yeah.
Like obviously there are other ones that have come out since then, but that one is just so good in so many levels. Like just because of how it starts. Like it starts off very, very light in how bad it is, and then it slowly starts to ramp up more and more. And that's also a good mark of a good Stalker film, is that it doesn't just go from like a 0 to an 11. It's little things start to become worse. Then they start to become worse and worse and worse. And then there's, of course, a moment where you're like, leave me the fuck alone. But all that does is just add more fuel to the fire and then amp it up to an 11.
And I think there's something so beautiful about that the power dynamics are equal. Like, when we talk about, the Fanatic, all the joking aside, is, you have this poor loser who has nothing in his life except a guy.
Horror movies.
Yeah. And basically, without this person who is a huge, rich, successful person, like he has nothing. But these two are like high crest business people, so they're on equal footing. So I think that adds to it. Plus, also you got to have great acting.
Yeah,
and Glenn Close just blows it out the park.
She's so good.
Good in this. Yeah.
So
and, hey, Michael Douglas, you're good too, but you're no Glenn Close, sir.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my list. My top 5, and I guess we'll call Cable Guy my honorary 6th.
Yeah. So I do have some honorary mentions. I mean, we mentioned 1 Hour Photo. I think that is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I was like one of those
fucking stalking.
I was like, oh man, if I had a top 7, 1 Hour Photo would have been there.
1 Hour Photo is absolutely brilliant. It's one that creeps the fuck out of me, and I think the reason why it creeps the fuck out of me is because like He's a photo guy, and we've all had interactions with people who are working in customer service, people who are working these jobs where it's like, yes, we constantly interact with them, maybe even get to know them well, right? Like, if you go to like your favorite pizza place, people will eventually know your name. Yeah. So the question when I have a photo is, what happens if that person like becomes obsessed with you, and what happens if that person starts to build their entire life around this idyllic idea of who you are and what your life is like, and then when the reality doesn't match that, what do they do?
Yeah,
like it's such a brilliant film. So it's not in my top 3, but it absolutely is my honorary mention.
It's funny you mentioned like when people get to know you at certain businesses during the pandemic. I would go to the beer distributor down the road from my place, and they started calling me like, "Hey, movie guy," and I'm like, that's when I realized like maybe I'm drinking too much during the pandemic. When the beer distributor guys not only know me but know like what I like do for a living.
Yeah.
But no, what was so interesting about that? Sorry, I just want to build up that.
Go ahead.
Is that your Uncle John again? Instagram's a lie.
It is a lie.
People do not put up photos of themselves sick or fighting. It's all like just their vacation photos or smiling. And
even our Instagram is a lie. I'm not going to lie to you and say that. Yeah. Our Instagram and the Psycho Show, it's a lie.
We only put up the best.
We do.
Yeah, the happiest.
I'm not going to put up a picture of me like just waking up in the morning. No one wants to see that.
Yeah. But Cy only sees what people want him to see. But unfortunately, he conflates that with reality that, and that's what makes him snap is when he sees this is not the idyllic, the husband's cheating is that makes him snap, which I think is like a really brilliant way of doing that before, Instagram was a thing, the 1 hour photo was, this is 2002 folks, but yeah.
So my actual top 3, okay, I don't have them in any particular order, but on my bottom, I gotta have single white female.
Yeah, I mean,
single.
Is that not the penultimate Stalker movie?
So here's the thing.
Obsession movie.
Here's why I love single white female. One, you've got Jennifer Jason Leigh, who is, I think she was coming off of, either she had just done or she was about to do Backdraft. And like in that film, she's like the sex symbol type woman, right? Yeah. So, like, even though, like, she's great in that film, they don't really give her much to do because it's not really a movie about that, right? It's Billy Baldwin's relationship with her along the whole idea of, like, oh, yeah, he's a firefighter. And you've got all these other things. You've got, like, Robert De Niro's in there and Kurt Russell's in there. A
lot of Robert De Niro today.
Yeah. But it's like, it's not about her. She's just kind of a side character. But single white female is not at all what you would think Jennifer Jason Leigh would do, right? And for me, it shows her range as an actor to go full balls to the wall crazy. And she presents herself in a way first as a very warm and just very much, she wants to be friends with Bridget Fonda. She just wants to be roommates, and it's only in that roommate relationship where you start to see, like, no, she's actually trying to become her and steal her life. And it's a thing where I think every one of us who's ever had a roommate, you've had that, like, not necessarily that experience, but you've had that idea pop in your head that, like, is this person crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, even especially if you don't, like, if you don't know them directly from some other way, like you're not friends with them prior, you just find them on, like, a, hey, I'm looking for a roommate situation, and they answer an ad. Like, that's the whole deal, right? Is that you don't really know who these people are that are living with you. So, like, that's why I love it. Plus, it's, like, pure early 90s cheese.
Yeah.
Like, the scene where she, like, starts to dye her hair, and then she kills, like, her boyfriend with a pump, and then leaves his body in the bathtub. Yeah. It's so fucking good.
Early 90s cheese is like, yeah, let's get a personal pan pizza and go rent this and Encino Man at Blockbuster.
Yeah. And then on top of that, there's always, like, a fight between the two at the end, and like the stalker's always dying.
Yeah, stalker's got to get their
stalker's got to get the comeuppance. Yeah. So yeah, single white female, fucking brilliant. Number 2 for me is absolutely Cable Guy.
Absolute Impact.
No, absolutely Cable Guy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was like, I didn't see that
No,
movie, Brad. Yeah.
absolutely Cable
Guy.
Cable Guy, and it's just because of how unstalkery a film it is, but at its core, it is a stalker film, but it's wrapped in this very dark comedy. And it again, it kind of goes to a thing of like, you do feel a little bad for Chip Douglas in this. You do. Like, you get the vibe that, like, this man is lonely, that this man doesn't have any friends, and, like, that little bit of kindness, you know, he grabs hold of it and holds on to it for dear fucking life.
Yeah,
right?
He's very much a sad kid, and we get flashbacks to, like, he was never given the proper, you know, tools to
exactly. And, like, he finds comfort in television. He finds comfort in movies. So, like, that's the whole thing with him, is that you absolutely, like, you do feel for him, even though he's doing horrible things to this person, right? So, Cable Guy, that's my number 2. Number 1, okay, for me, is The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And I'm not talking about the remake. I'm talking about the original.
Remake. Yeah, I had a feeling when we were talking about this that was going to be your number 1.
That is my number 1 stalker film for a couple reasons. Okay. Yeah. Rebecca De Mornay in that movie is fucking terrifying. Okay.
Oh yeah.
like you get her in a movie and she's supposed to she's always well put together in these films prior to this film coming out, right? She's beautiful, blonde hair, blue eyes. She's not the type of person you would think would be a stalker.
Yeah.
Okay. But she is fucking chilling as all hell in this movie. Every action she does towards her ends of ruining this family's life is fucking terrifying. Okay? Like, and then on top of that, like the reasoning why she is doing it is also really interesting. So, you know, in most stalker films, usually it's because that the protagonist has done some wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, Fatal Attraction, you know,
he cheated on his wife.
He cheated on his wife. He had a one-night stand. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, we already, like, this is what you get. So, like, there's always some sort of wrong there. Or it's kind of just completely out of the fucking blue, right? So, like, with even Single White Female, all it is Bridget Fonda just wants a roommate. Okay? Yeah. And just so happen to find someone who, you know, can fill that role. So, just happenstance. Or even in 1 Hour Photo, it is, oh yeah, you know, Cy is just obsessed with his family because he has no family. Okay? But with Single White Female, well, not Single White Female, but excuse me, like Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that movie is that what leads the stalking is the fact that Rebecca De Mornay is out for revenge because the lead character in that film was basically felt up by her very famous, wealthy doctor husband. And all that character did was report his ass, get him fired, he commits suicide, and Rebecca De Mornay views that family as the reason for why her life is shit.
Right. Not her husband.
It's not her husband.
It's this family.
It's this family.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like one small action led to a cascading effect that affected someone you didn't even fucking know, and they have an unhealthy obsession with taking you down for doing nothing wrong. And that's why I love that movie so much, and why I view it as like that is the best fucking stalker movie, because it's so intricate in the way of trying to illustrate why this person is doing what they're doing. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I fucking love that movie.
Very good.
So good.
Yeah. Well, I think we stalked the audience
this to death.
Yeah.
We stalked them to death. Yeah. So guys, final thoughts, John, on stalker movies.
You know, like Brian and I have talked, and like we both like the other one, but you know, Brian's much more of like a supernatural horror guy, where I tend to really like horror that I think is based, you know, grounded in some level of reality. And most of these movies, with the exception of like It Follows, Terminator, or whatever, are grounded in reality. And to me, that's very, very frightening. And I understand, as we talked at the beginning of the episode, that, you know, that could be triggering for people who have gone through this. Like, nobody's had to fight the Wolfman,
No,
There's no Wolfman.
or Dracula.
But people have dealt with stalkers, to minor to major degrees. And so I hope you got through it and you're safe now. But yeah, that's what makes it so terrifying, is that this can happen to anybody at any time. And that grounded reality of it, I think, is what works so well for this type of genre.
Yeah, definitely.
Subgenre. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, where can they find you at on the internet, John?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and over at JDev's Video Nasties. I have Spooky Season Keeps on Churning, Brown Baby Keep on Burning. So, again, that's all I can sing without being sued, like at the beginning. So, yeah, go over to JDev's Video Nasties. And if you like what I do over there, as Brian's about to say for this show, subscribe, share, comment, hit the bell, do all the YouTube stuff.
Do all the things.
Do all
the things. Do all the things. Of course, if you have loved this episode, please do me a favor and share it. Share it with your friends, share it with your family. Don't share it with your stalker. Please don't. Don't do that.
Or who you're stalking.
Don't share it with them.
Yeah.
And of course, if you want to, you can follow the podcast on your favorite podcast app of choice by going to cinemapsychoshow.com/follow. You click that and boom, you can follow us on all the different apps. We've got buttons for them right there and then. And of course, if you are watching us here on YouTube, hey, thank you so much. Do me a favor. Can you hit that subscribe button? Can you hit the little bell? Can you hit the little thumbs up? And can you even throw in a comment? Let us know what's your favorite stalker movie, or what movie do you think your stalker would find to be their favorite stalker movie? Do that. The algorithm loves that sort of shit. And of course, we will see you next time.
Oh God, they found me. How do they find me?
Run for it, Marty!